I want to welcome you all to the Spring 2023 Epidemiology and Public Health Graduation Recognition Ceremony. I'm Jay Magaziner. I'm chair of the Department of Epidemiology and Public Health. And before we move on with the ceremony, I want to inform all attendees that we are recording today's ceremony so that you can listen to it later, as well as those who could not be with us can hear it at a future time. It's really a tremendous privilege to be here and open the ceremony this morning for our students. Our department, for your information, if you don't already know this, we turned 190 years old today as a department. So it was happy birthday, department. Yes. So it's really amazing. We're one of the oldest departments in the School of Medicine. We were the 7th to be initiated of what must be about 22 or 23 now. I'm looking at one of the senior deans to tell me what the exact number, but that's right. Okay. We were started actually in 1833 by someone who was Thomas Jefferson's personal physician, who came here from Virginia and his name was Robley Dungleson, and he came to Baltimore to basically practice public health and prevention. This was a big time of infectious diseases, and he came here, and in the wisdom of those that were leading the school and involved with the city at that time, he was brought here to actually practice prevention in Baltimore. So as we celebrate our 190th anniversary year, we're going to really celebrate and recognize several annual award recipients and honor society inductees. And of course, most importantly, we are going to recognize our 31 graduates who are part of multiple programs throughout the School of Medicine. And we are going to recognize them as those that we take great pride in, having come from members, having been taught by members of the Department of Epidemiology and Public Health. I'd like to take a few minutes to acknowledge and thank several individuals for being with us today, and I ask that you please hold your applause until I've had a chance to introduce each of the small groups. First, acknowledging Dr. James Caper. Dr. Caper is here representing the School of Medicine's Dean's Office, and I'll introduce him more formally in a few moments. We also have the current president of the Beta Tau chapter of the Delta Omega Honorary Society in Public Health, Dr. Jessica Brown, and Diane Marie St. George serves as vice chair for academic programs and is director of the Master of Public Health program. Thank you, and it's great to see all of you. And it's really through their direction that the department continues to achieve its national recognition in areas of research, education, and service. As I just noted, Dr. St. George is the director of the EPH program, but we have several other academic program directors with us today as well. Dr. Ann Gruber-Baldini, who is the director of the doctoral program in epidemiology and human genetics, and the Master of Science in Epidemiology and Clinical Research. Dr. Denise Orwig, who is the co-director of the doctoral program in gerontology, which is a dual campus program at UMB and UMBC that we're very proud of. Dr. Jennifer Albrecht, who leads our Master of Science and certificate programs in clinical research. Dr. Tony Pollan, who leads the Master of Science program in human genetics and genomic medicine. And Wendy Lane, Dr. Wendy Lane is Director of the Preventive Medicine Residency Program. And not last but not least, Dr. Anthony Harris leads the department's Medical Student Education Program and is the head of the Division of Genomic Epidemiology and Clinical Outcomes. And to complete this group, I'd also like to recognize other epidemiology and public health faculty that are joining us today. And I ask all the epidemiology and public health faculty to please stand and be recognized. Just for a moment. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I wanted those who are here as visitors today to see what a just have your eyes cast on this wonderful group of faculty in our department. I'd also like to now acknowledge our staff. And without our staff, this whole event would not take place and our programs would not run as smoothly as they do. And I don't think enough good things can say about this wonderful group of people that we work with, which make it enjoyable for me to come to work regularly. And I know that for our faculty, it's also a great deal of comfort to know that they're here to support us. And I'd like to recognize those include today, Justine Golden, Cassie Santoni, Andrea Manning, Tina Kramer-American, and Carol Longo, Lauren Schmand, John Shinnick, and Erin Walton. Can those people please just take a quick stand? Thank you. Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize the family members and friends of our graduates. You are here and you've supported the graduates through many years, most recently as they went through a great pandemic years and they continued their studies here. And I want to recognize you as really being the sort of the backbone of what has brought our students to us. And if you could just stand for a moment, give you a chance to stretch for a second. Thank you. Thank you. And of course, last but certainly not least is our graduates. And we're really here because of you. Some of your experiences may have been unique, considering they were bookended by a global pandemic. This is a period in your lives that you will not forget and that will have an influence on you, just as the Great Depression had an influence on those who lived through the 1930s had on them. And I think it's going to have an influence in ways that you don't yet know. I have my own field of aging. I believe there are going to be effects on you as you get older, as your lives continue to change. The period, this past 2.5, 3 years of the pandemic and coming out of that, which I hope we're really doing, is really going to have an influence. And I think the fact that you've made it through that period, continued your studies, and are getting your degrees is really remarkable. And I really want to congratulate all of you for your really fine attitudes and work and ability to work beyond the horrible situations we've all faced. So thank you. So I have to ask our graduates to please stand. Thank you. Next, we're going to move on, and I'd like to ask Dr. James Caper to share a few words with our graduates. Dr. Caper is the James and Carolyn Frankel Distinguished Dean's Professor, the Vice Dean for Academic Affairs, and the Chair of the Department of Microbiology and Immunology here at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. We know that you have some very special ties to the field of epidemiology, and we look forward to a few comments from you, Dr. Kafer.
Good morning. On behalf of Dean Mark Gladwin, we want to extend our heartiest congratulations to the graduates today for all your hard work and achieving the degrees that you've been working on, and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. I also want to congratulate the parents and spouses and family members of the graduates today, for I know that the support that you gave them was essential in helping them complete their course of study. And having been to many graduations for our own children, I can certainly share the parents' sense of pride in seeing your children accomplish these goals and moving on in their careers. As Jay mentioned, I have some special ties to epidemiology, and so I'm particularly pleased to be at this ceremony every year. I have to attend some 6 different ceremonies this week for various programs, graduation ceremonies, but the epidemiology is special because of various ties and personal ties, particularly including decades ago when I was a postdoctoral fellow. I did some of the initial, very earliest work on molecular epidemiology and developing techniques in molecular epidemiology. When I came here to the School of Medicine as faculty, one of my first postdoctoral fellows was Dr. J. Glenn Morris, who went on to become chair of this Department of Epidemiology before Jay Magaziner. And on a more family note, then my wife was a former EIS officer for the CDC. That's actually when I first met her decades ago at a conference, and scientific conference. She was talking about an outbreak that she had investigated, and that's what she was talking to the audience about, the outbreak. She was talking to me about other things. But anyway, and our daughter Liz is an epidemiologist. She is currently assistant professor of epidemiology at the Emory School of Public Health, and her first exposure to the field of epidemiology, and her first research experience in epi was here in this department many years ago when she did a summer internship as an undergraduate, then where she worked with Dan Morgan and Anthony Harris, Carrie Tom, and others in the department. And our family will be all forever grateful for the mentoring that she received in this department. It started her on her career in epidemiology. So you see, personally, I'm very experienced with the epidemiology, importance of epidemiology in public health, but still, I think that the general public is really not so familiar with it. Despite the pandemic that we just went through, I think the lessons will soon be forgotten, I'm afraid. And so this is obviously there's lots of continued education of the public that needs to understand the importance of public health. It's not just for infectious diseases, of course, as the most recent example, but for so many other diseases, non-infectious diseases, cancer, obesity, drug addiction, other normal conditions such as aging, as Jay studies for. Studying the population-based studies on the causes and consequences and eventually preventions and therapeutics for these sorts of conditions, such a wide variety of conditions, is really so essential for the future health of our population. And so I admire the graduates today for committing to this career and going on to dedicate their their service to improving the health of the city, of the state, of the country, and the world. Congratulations once again, graduates, and I know you'll make us proud.
Thank you again, Dr. Caper. Appreciate your remarks and appreciate your ties to the department. It's always nice to have a friend in the dean's office, which we've got a lot of friends in the dean's office. It's a very friendly place. We also have several annual awards that we give in the department. And today, it's really my pleasure to introduce each of the award presenters who will make a few remarks. And our first presenter will be Dr. Ann Gruber-Baldini, and she will be presenting the Dorothy and Morris Magaziner Endowment Award. Dr. Gruber-Baldini.
Thank you, Jay. Yes, it's my pleasure to present the Doris and Morris Magaziner Scholarship Endowment, which was made possible through a generous donation from the family of Doris and Morris Magaziner. Hint, hint. This merit-based award helps to support doctoral students whose dissertation and research addresses some aspects of aging with a community or public health orientation. I'm very pleased to announce our winner this year is Jennifer Kirk, a gerontology doctoral student who is doing her dissertation work on disparities in osteoporosis drug therapy management. Well, she'll be looking at racial and ethnic differences, neighborhood level effects, and clinician provider knowledge, preferences and biases. And I'm sure that some of this funding will be helping her in her acquiring her Medicare claims data for her dissertation. So Jennifer Kirk.
The second presenter is Dr. Jessica Brown, and she will be presenting the Langenberg Endowment in Epidemiology and Women's Health Award. Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Dr. Magaziner. It is so energizing to join you all this morning as we celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates and those receiving honors. It's my distinct honor to present the Dr. Patricia Langenberg Endowment and Women's Health and Epidemiology Award. Before the awardees are recognized, I want to extend my respect and appreciation to my colleagues who serve on the award selection committee. We are united in how rewarding we find serving on this committee to honor Dr. Langenberg's legacy to our department by fostering the education and career development of doctoral trainees. And a special thank you to Erin Walton for managing the applications and her outstanding organizational skills. This endowed award was established shortly after Pat retired in 2015, after 25 years of dedicated service to the Department of Epidemiology and Public Health. The endowment provides merit-based awards to doctoral students to support dissertation or other research, travel to professional conferences, experiential learning opportunities, or other educational needs. This award has been given out for 6 years, and today we recognize our 12th and 13th awardees. Our growing number of scholars is possible due to the sustained generosity from Dr. Langenberg. Dr. Langenberg and her family have long served as champions of higher education, either directly as educators, mentors, and leaders, or indirectly through considerable philanthropy. Not only do several awards across the university system of Maryland bear the Langenberg name, many of us here today have been taught by or were mentees of Pat. This departmental award is also unique as it is awarded twice annually, once in the fall semester and once in the spring semester. Today, we are recognizing and celebrating both awardees from fall 2022 and spring 2023. Our fall 2022 awardee is Jamie Warwick. Unfortunately, Jamie wasn't able to join us today. She will receive her certificate another time. Jamie received funds to support her innovative dissertation data analysis, specifically learning about natural language processing of cognitive interview data, as well as item response theory models. Ms. Warwick also received funds to offset travel expenses for 2 national conferences. Our spring 2023 awardee is Kareshma Mahanti. Kareshma, please join me up here on stage. Kareshma also received funds to support her dissertation data analysis, specifically learning M+ and ArcGIS software packages, plus attending workshops on scale development, multi-level modeling, and geospatial analysis. Impressive work. Please join me in congratulating Jamie and Kareshma.
The next presenter is Dr. Denise Orwig, and she'll be presenting the Gerontology Early Career Development Award. Dr. Orwig.
Thank you very much. It's good to see everybody. This is my favorite time of year. It's a good reminder of why we do what we do the rest of the year. So it's my pleasure to introduce the recipients for the Gerontology Early Career Development Award. This award was funded through a generous donation, and its goal is to foster early academic productivity in aging research. This prestigious award recognizes excellence in the student's academic work and in research, which serves as a foundation for becoming an independent scholar in the field of gerontology. And I am pleased to introduce the first recipient, who unfortunately isn't here today. Min Park is a 4th-year student in the Sociocultural Behavioral Sciences track. Her dissertation will be assessing differences in characteristics of caregivers, their healthcare service use, and their outcomes by immigrant status. This is a very understudied area of research. This award will help to support her research and enhance her analytic skills specifically, because she plans to use the funds to purchase this software package called M+, and it's a widely used data analytic tool, and she will receive training in structural equation modeling, which is a way of analyzing longitudinal data. So congratulations to Min Park. The second recipient you're already familiar with because she was already up on stage, Jennifer Kirk, is a 5th-year student in the epidemiology of aging track in our gerontology program. And she has focused her research in health disparities, looking at the mediating social determinants of bone health. Jen's dissertation research will assess the role of individual neighborhood provider level factors on racial ethnic disparities in osteoporosis management after an incident fracture. This award will allow her to access the valuable data set from a large longitudinal observational osteoporosis cohort study through the Pharmacoepidemiology and Economic Research Group at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. So congratulations, Jennifer. Should she come up? Okay. Right, okay.
You've got a lot of awards.
Yes, I have 2 more. Okay, I'll do Gretchen Tucker next. She is a 5th-year doctoral candidate in the Sociocultural Behavioral Sciences track. Her research interest is focused on non-spousal care partners for persons living with dementia. Gretchen's dissertation is using both quantitative and qualitative methods to improve the overall understanding of unmet dementia-related care needs among non-spousal care partners. This will be accomplished through using a secondary data analysis from 2 studies that were conducted at Johns Hopkins University that enrolled over 600 care partners. And she will be doing a qualitative portion of interviews, which is a case series analysis, and she's going to explore the gender and racial differences in unmet needs. From this award, she will be able to provide an honorarium to her study participants for these qualitative interviews. So congratulations, Gretchen. And last but not least is Ria Mehta. And she was not able to be here today, but she is a 3rd-year student in the epidemiology of aging track. Her dissertation is going to focus on the effects of depression and antidepressant use on hip fracture outcomes. Specifically, she's interested in the association between pre-fracture depression and days at home, length of hospital stay, and 30-day mortality. And she will be using a large Medicare beneficiary claims data set. And the funds from this award will be used to pay for the storage of that large data set over the time at which she has to analyze it. So congratulations to Ria.
Next, I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Diane Marie St. George, and she'll be presenting the Renee Royak Shaler Memorial Endowment Award. Dr. St. George.
Good morning, everyone. Let me begin by thanking the members of the committee, who shall remain unnamed for obvious reasons, for their service, and also Ms. Walton, who was, as you heard earlier, an excellent administrator and revamped the entire process for us this year, and it worked so wonderfully. So thank you. It is my great honor to present the Renee Royak Shaler Memorial Endowment Award. Dr. Royak Shaler joined the faculty of our department in 2002. And was instrumental in the development of our Master of Public Health program, eventually serving as the inaugural director of the accredited program. Dr. Royak Shaler was an active researcher and taught and mentored students in the PhD, MS, and MPH programs here in our department. After her untimely passing in 2011, her family established this award to honor her memory and legacy. This fund provides annual merit-based awards to students in the PhD, MS, or MPH programs. This prestigious award recognizes excellence in student academic work, research, and/or service in areas that were deeply important to Dr. Royak Shaler, such as health disparities, health behavior, women's health, cancer prevention, and/or community engagement. This year, we have 2 recipients of this award. Ms. Kareshma Mohanty, whom I think you all know, who's here, come on up. Come on up, please, Kareshma. And Ms. Samantha Salhorst. I'm going to introduce Ms. Salhorst first. No, please come up. Ms. Salhorst earned a BS in neuroscience from the Ohio University in 2019. Please come up. She's not here. She is currently here at UMB as a dual degree student enrolled in the MD program, as well as our departmental MS in clinical research. Since being here at UMB, Samantha has served as a volunteer with the School of Medicine Admissions Office and with Gilchrist Hospice. She has long been interested in women's health. While she was in Ohio, she was involved in the initiation of the Period Project, a program which promoted education about menstruation and women's health, along with providing feminine hygiene products to women in need. Here in Baltimore, Samantha was named as a lead instructor among the group of medical students who deliver an adolescent sex education curriculum through the Teen Promise Project. Samantha has authored or co-authored 4 manuscripts, as well as poster and oral presentations. Her nominators said about her, and I quote, "Based on her extreme efforts, responsibility, and maturity, I think she's an excellent candidate for this award. She's a champion for research involving women's health and health equity, as well as engagement in the community, and her overlapping interests and efforts speak to this award perfectly. We on the committee could not have said it better ourselves, and thus we were happy to present Samantha Selhorst as a 2023 Renee Royak Shaler awardee." And next, Ms. Kareshma Mohanty earned a Bachelor of Science in Molecular Biology from Marlborough College in 2008, and then went on to earn a Master of Science in Molecular Biology from Hopkins in 2011. From 2011 to 2018, Ms. Mohanty was employed as a project manager and research analyst for Medical Decision Logic here in Baltimore, leaving there to join our doctoral program in epidemiology. Since joining our department, Kareshma has been involved with a strong study, which is evaluating the impact on clinical and gerontological outcomes of a multidisciplinary geriatric model of care for older HIV patients. She's a highly sought after TA, assisting in 5 courses thus far. I think they cut you off after that, right? Yeah, so you have to do other things. She has served on the department's graduate program committee for 2 years, ably representing her peers in that important governance body. Kareshma has also been active across the wider university committee, serving as the treasurer for the Indian Association and organizing cultural festivals and a virtual art gallery. She has mentored international students through the campus's Office of International Service, as well as incoming doctoral students in our program and an MPH student who graduated and doing wonderful things. I heard from her just a couple of weeks ago. She has been named as author or co-author on 10 conference abstracts and 6 published manuscripts. Kareshma's research interests focus on the system and social drivers of health disparities. Her dissertation addresses the differences in health service uptake and social determinants of health impacting HIV and HIV-related outcomes in low and middle income settings, reflecting her passion for health equity. Given all of this, it should come as no surprise to each of you that Ms. Mohanty was also named as one of the Renee Royak Shaler 2023 awardees.
And finally, Dr. Anthony Harris will be presenting the Medical Teaching Award. Dr. Harris.
Thanks, Jay. It's a real honor to be here. I remember closely what it felt like for me when I graduated, and also experiencing that as a parent with 3 going through. If I can give one quick piece of advice, you've all excelled in your brilliance in order to make it to this day. I would say when you hit the job market, 2 pieces of advice I would like to give you is work ethic outdoes brilliance all the time, and first impressions matter. I wanted to give this award to Larry Magder for his outstanding job in medical student teaching. because I knew that at this award, a lot of the people here would also have benefited from Larry and his teaching of master's students and PhD students. I wanted to give just a little bit longer introduction, if possible. So many of you know Larry is a full professor. He got his master's of public health at the University of Michigan and got his PhD at Johns Hopkins. He's probably taught every single statistical course that exists over the last 15 years in this department, and has done a really outstanding job. I personally have the fortune of working with him as a statistician for a lot of the research projects we do. And in fact, we often complain that we don't get enough of Larry's time because he's less interested in infectious disease research than some of the other areas he does. He's a great biostatistician. He's very thoughtful. He approaches problems very slowly and deliberately and thoughtfully. And he applies that to his teaching of medical students in the same way. When Aaron told me that I had to give an award, we generally have the same people who do the teaching with the med students often year after year. And I looked at the awards and I said, Aaron, this is impossible. It looks like Larry has never won this award. I mean, how is that possible? And it's generally, I would say it must be an oversight because he's done an absolute outstanding job teaching the med students. And I know there's at least one med student here. So here comes some comments about how difficult this task is. So you'd think this wouldn't be difficult for Larry, but we always get the least choice spot of teaching. And what do I mean by that? As an example, we now teach epi and statistics in the first semester. The students are here, buried between anatomy, biochemistry, and pharmacology. And we give our lectures right before their first test. So needless to say, the students do not really understand the importance of epi and stats. And so Larry's got a really, really difficult task doing it. He approaches this difficult task with great aplomb. He's very responsive to the students, does a great job teaching them stuff like p-values, confidence intervals, and basic statistical tests, and generally gets excellent evaluations. His patience, which is increasingly needed when teaching the medical students, is remarkable and much better than mine at this point in my career. To summarize, and on a more comedic note, to had Dr. Caper left, I noticed that this award does not have a name yet. We need an endowment fund. So until we have an endowment fund to maybe pressure the higher ups to give us an endowment fund for this award, I would like to colloquially refer as to one of my favorite comedians and personal friends, Dr. Ken Jeong Award for Medical Student Teaching. And I'd like to ask Larry to come up and accept this award on my behalf.
Am I starting here? Okay, so our next presenter is Bing Guo, a student in the PhD program in epidemiology and human genetics. He'll be presenting the Epidemiology, Human Genetics, and Gerontology Faculty Mentoring Award and the Epidemiology, Human Genetics, and Gerontology Faculty Teaching Award. So Dr. or Mr. Jewel, where is he?
Morning, everyone. My name is Bing Guo. I'm a student representative from the Epidemiology and the Human Genetic program. Today, I'm very honored to present awards to 3 outstanding professors who teach and mentor students in epidemiology, human genetics, and gerontology programs. These awards have been determined based on the feedback from students, highlighting the profound impact of the professors on the student education and personal growth. First, let's start with the Faculty Mentoring Awards, which recognize excellence in mentoring students within the programs of epidemiology, human genetics, and gerontology. This award acknowledges faculty members who have demonstrated via mentoring students innovation, leadership, high standards, outstanding moral character, and the ability to generate excitement. We're delighted to present Faculty Mentoring Award to Dr. John Hershon. Dr. Hershon has had a profound impact of the lives and academic journeys of his mentees. Students have expressed their deep gratitude for his guidance and support, particularly during challenging times. Dr. Hershon's ability to provide a clear roadmap, offer expert advice, and generate excitement and enthusiasm among his mentees has been instrumental in their success. Despite his tight schedule, he constantly makes time to help his students, making him a true role model for aspiring researchers and practitioners. It is with immense pleasure that we honor Dr. John Hershon with the Faculty Mentoring Award for his exceptional contribution to mentoring students within the department.
You have more? We'll stay here. Okay. You're doing another award now? Yep. Go ahead.
Next, let's move on to acknowledge recipients of the Faculty Teaching Award, which focuses on teaching with similar criteria. Our first awardee is Dr. Danya Cato. Dr. Cato has demonstrated exceptional teaching skills and deep commitment to her students, and Dr. Cato's students commend her for her accessibility and leadership as she consistently goes above and beyond to make time for them. Her engaging teaching style and passion for the subject matter has captivated her students, making the introduction to epidemiology course a truly enriching experience. Dr. Cato's unique approach to exploring ethical implications of epidemiology and her dedication to addressing individual student needs truly set her apart. It is an honor to present Dr. Danya Cato with the Faculty Teaching Award for her outstanding work in teaching fundamental courses to students from our department. Move on, our second awardee is Dr. Michael Turing. Dr. Turing has exceptional teaching ability, has left a lasting impact on his students. As a professor in the clinical trials class, Dr. Turing has not only provided his students with comprehensive understanding of the subject matter, but also created a classroom environment that fosters critical thinking and professional growth. His well-structured curriculum, incorporation of resource speakers, and thought-provoking reading material has made the class an invaluable experience for those pursuing careers in clinical trials or related fields. Dr. Turing's dedication to his students and his generosity with his time are qualities that students greatly admire. It is with pleasure that we present Dr. Michael Turing with the Faculty Teaching Award for his exceptional contribution to epidemiology education.
It's great. That's great. So our last awards will be presented by Chipe Getty and Micah Mathis. They're the co-chairs of the Public Health Student Association Leadership Board. And they'll be presenting the MPH Student Peer Recognition Award and the MPH Faculty Teaching and Mentoring Award. Ms. Getty and Mr. Mathis.
Good morning, everyone. All right, thank you, Dr. Macaziner, for that introduction. The MPH Students Peer Recognition Award enables the MPH students to recognize the peer who exhibits exemplary teamwork, camaraderie, support, and respect for other students, and a passion for the field of public health. Our fellow MPH students were invited to nominate a currently enrolled MPH classmate for this honor. This year, one MPH student emerged as the clear front runner for this recognition. This MPH student describes this peer as a leader through formal and informal roles, a team player that is supportive and respectful of other students and has a passion for the field of public health. Please join us in congratulating the 2023 Master of Public Health Student Peer Recognition Award recipient, Ms. Catherine Poteca. Unfortunately, Ms. Poteca was unable to join us today, but she sends her sincere appreciation for this recognition and looks forward to finishing her dual degree in MD and MPH.
Next, we would like to present the 2023 Masters of Public Health Teaching and Mentoring Award. This award recognizes excellence in teaching and mentoring by a faculty member in the School of Medicine's Master of Public Health program. For this award, the teaching component is based on the faculty member's passion for stimulating learning and generating intellectual curiosity, both inside and outside of the classroom setting. While the mentoring aspect is based on the faculty member's remarkable enthusiasm and success in guiding professional growth of the MPH students. Each academic year, the MPH students can nominate one faculty member for outstanding teaching and mentorship. This year, there were several nominations, but one faculty member emerged as a clear winner. Students described this awardee as a mentor and a role model. They also noted that this faculty member creates a classroom setting that stimulates learning and generates a passion for public health. Now, please join us in congratulating the 2023 Master of Public Health Teaching and Mentoring Award recipient, Dr. Helen Powell.
Thank you, thank you. Okay. Next, we're going to acknowledge two honor societies. Several students in the department were invited to join the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society this academic year, and we've asked Diane Marie St. George to recognize these students. Dr. St. George.
Hello again. Thank you, Dr. Magaziner. It gives me great pleasure to recognize the students who were invited to join the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society, just as I was when I was a graduate student way back when. The Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society was formed in 1897 by 10 senior students, 2 faculty members, and the president of the University of Maine. They created a new kind of honor society, one that recognized excellence in all academic disciplines. At first, the Honor Society named itself the Lambda Sigma Eta Society. Later, it was renamed to Phi Kappa Phi from the letters of the Greek words forming its motto, Philosophia Kratioto Photon. Let the love of learning rule humanity. Today, Phi Kappa Phi recognizes and promotes academic excellence in all fields of higher education and engages the community of scholars in service to others. This year, EPH students met the Honor Society's criteria for induction, and these students were invited to join Phi Kappa Phi. I would like to recognize those students who were invited to join and are also graduating this May. Please come forward as I announce your name. From the Master of Science in Epidemiology and Preventive Medicine program, Andrea Berry. And yes, please. And Master of Public Health, Kara Dooley. I'd like to congratulate both of these students for their nomination.
Well, next we're going to recognize our inductees into the Delta Omega Honorary Society in Public Health. The University of Maryland School of Medicine has a very active Delta Omega chapter, and Dr. Jessica Brown and Dr. Lori Edwards will announce the 2023 Delta Omega inductees.
Thank you, Dr. Magaziner. First, I'd like to recognize the other Delta Omega members that are here with us today. Would all the Delta Omega members please stand? Thank you. Please be seated. Delta Omega is the Honorary Society for Public Health. It was established in 1924 to recognize outstanding achievement in the then new field. As such, members are selected for their contributions to and commitment for high standards of academic and professional competence and service. Membership in Delta Omega reflects the dedication of an individual to increasing the quality of the field, as well as to the protection and advancement of the health of all people. This is an occasion for inviting new members into the society who share the same commitment and goals. We welcome them and this opportunity to recognize their achievements to earn this distinction. Today, we are pleased to announce the selected individuals for induction into the Beta Tau chapter under alumni, faculty, honorary, and student. For alumni selection is from the graduates of the Master of Public Health program, whose work in the practice of public health would serve as a model for future graduates of the program. Each academic year, the chapter may induct up to 50% of the number of student inductees for this academic year. That means the chapter may induct 2 alumni. Several alumni were nominated by the membership committee, and for each nominee, the committee reviewed if the individual was engaged in a public health career, continuing with schooling, or not engaged in a public health career. The alumni inductees for the 2022-2023 academic year are Margarita Chiquina, class of 2014, and Bradley Knight, class of 2019. Unfortunately, they were not able to join us today, but they will receive their certificates in the mail. For faculty, faculty selection is based on contributions to public health scholarship teaching and service. Faculty inductees for the 2022-2023 academic year are Yolanda Ogbalu and Susan Wazinski. Dr. Ogbalu and Professor Wazinski, please come forward. For honorary selection is based on a person possessing exceptional public health qualifications and have attained a meritorious distinction in the field of public health. Each academic year, the chapter may induct no more than one honorary chapter member. This is the second year that the Beta Tau chapter is inducting an honorary member, and the honorary inductee for the 2022-2023 academic year is Catherine Feldman. It's a busy day. Unfortunately, Dr. Feldman couldn't join us either for this honor. She will get her certificate in the mail. For student inductees, student selection is based on academic excellence, commitment to the public health profession, and leadership qualities. Each academic year, the chapter may induct up to 20% of that year's graduating class. And for this academic year, that means the chapter may induct 3 student members. The student inductees for the 2022-2023 academic year are Christine Anyanwu, Sydney Feldman, and Hannah Laboon. Would the 3 of you please come forward? It is an honor for us to have you join the society. As a student and faculty member, you embody the mission and vision of Delta Omega. Your qualifications have been reviewed and acted on favorably by the leadership of this chapter. We hope membership in the society is an honor for you as well. Membership in Delta Omega has special meaning, and that you are dedicating yourself to continued excellence in the field of public health. As such, you ascribe to high standards of performance in all that you do. We will now ask you to take the oath to join Delta Omega. Please state "I will" after each statement. I aspire to demonstrate excellence in practice in the field of public health. I aspire to demonstrate excellence in research in the field of public health. I aspire to demonstrate excellence in education in the field of public health. I aspire to demonstrate excellence in academic achievement in the field of public health. The Beta Tau chapter is honored to induct all these individuals into the Delta Omega Honorary Society in Public Health. Congratulations to all of the new inductees.
Wow. Each year, we ask a graduating student representative from the different disciplines to share a few words about their experience here at the University of Maryland in Baltimore. This year, we're going to have the directors from the programs introduce the student speakers, and we're going to do them in turn. First, Dr. Garibaldini.
On behalf of the Epidemiology and Human Genetics Doctoral Program, I'm pleased to introduce our speaker. Our speaker today is Dr. Geeta Nandapalli. Dr. Gandapalli got a MD from the BJ Medical College of Sassoon Hospitals and worked in the Rao Nursing Home in Pune, India before coming to the United States and getting an MPH at Johns Hopkins. She then joined our group in fall of 2019 and graduated in November of 2022. So 3 years. I love those stats. While she was here, she has published she's published over 14 publications, 4 of which were first author that are on work that she's done here, which was related to, one of the things is related to a disinfectant wipe on environmental bioburden in intensive care unit. She worked with Anthony Harris and Lindsay O'Hara while she was here. She also was awarded the Patricia Langenberg Endowment while a student, and the Society for Healthcare Epidemiology of America Award, Rutalis Scholarship in 2022. So again, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Geeta Nandapalli.
Thank you, Dr. Guba Baldini, for the gracious introduction. Good morning, everyone. I want to begin by congratulating all the graduate students, their families, and friends on this remarkable achievement. As we gather here today, it's natural for most of the graduates to reflect on the journey in the program. When I joined the PhD program in the fall of 2019, I was filled with nervousness and anticipation, just like many of you. I often wondered how long it would take to obtain this degree and what lay ahead after completing my PhD. However, I faced some additional concerns. I wasn't a traditional PhD candidate. I was an outlier, someone who returned to school after a long gap. Moreover, I was an immigrant to this country relatively late in my life. As a result, the initial months of my program were very challenging, as I had to adjust to the US educational system as well as the culture. Gradually, with time, I grew more comfortable, and today I would like to share with you the valuable lessons I learned during my doctoral journey, which I call the 3 Ps. The first lesson, or the first P I learned, was a positive attitude. In my opinion, the greatest asset of this program is the diversity of its student body. Intellectual peers extended just beyond my cohort to include seniors and other graduate students from the master's program. Interacting with these peers enhanced my confidence, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills. Through this journey, I became convinced that knowledge grows through sharing and research thrives on collaboration. My friends always reminded me that I am the captain of my own ship and motivated me to successfully complete my PhD within 4 years. The second P is perseverance. Each one of us has undoubtedly learned the significance of this trait during the pandemic. But I primarily developed the skill by working on my thesis with my committee members. I also realized that while being persevering, it's crucial to continually network with other researchers, seize opportunities, and seek timely help from mentors when needed. Looking back now, I understand that while we all dream of a perfect thesis, no thesis will ever be flawless, and research only improves over time. So be practical and wisely choose your projects with calculated risk. The last lesson I learned here was patience. We all joined the PhD program with a passion for research aiming to improve public health. However, I would be dishonest if I claimed that my PhD journey was smooth, as no journey ever is. There were moments when the pace of research slowed, even came to a standstill, and I felt disheartened considering giving up. But actually, these setbacks ultimately helped me build patience and become even more resilient. As epidemiologists, we often draw comparisons. Similarly, because I experienced these low moments, I could genuinely appreciate the numerous positive moments I enjoyed throughout the journey in this program. In summary, a positive problem-solving approach, coupled with perseverance and patience, were the three significant P's I earned alongside my PhD degree. Now in my new role as a senior policy analyst, as I continue to learn new skills, I apply the critical thinking and the training I received here. When my colleagues at my new workplace comment my work, my default responses, I owe it to my mentors and the training I received at the University of Maryland. Finally, the lessons I learned here extended way beyond research and have impacted my personal life. Recently, my husband and I successfully hiked the Grand Canyon, where a positive attitude, perseverance, and patience helped us navigate through the challenging, never-ending switchbacks, demonstrating the generalizability of the lessons learned here. With that positive note, I end my talk. Once again, congratulations, class of 2023. Follow your passion, dream big, the world awaits you all. Thank you all for your patient hearing and please stay safe.
Next, Dr. Tony Pollan will introduce our second speaker from the Human Genetics and Genomic Medicine program.
Morning. On behalf of the Human Genetics and Genomic Medicine Master's Program, it's my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Parth Bhatia. He completed his master's degree in Human Genetics and Genomic Medicine here at the University of Maryland, Baltimore in 2022. Prior to that, he received his Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from Jamia Hamdad University in 2020. And as an undergraduate, he conducted a number of research projects, including research on the effects of socioeconomic factors and understanding the paradigm of general health and autism in Delhi, and also computational methods involving antiviral drug repurposing, and was also involved in writing several review articles. And in 2020, he matriculated into UMB. And so that makes me think of another P, which is pandemic, because he completed his first year, had the real challenge of completing his first year of courses entirely online from India, which, was really not easy. In my small program, I tried to make it easier by scheduling, the class that I was teaching very early in the morning, but of course there are the other classes. So he was like in classes all day and all night. Succeeded with flying colors, and really also showed remarkable initiative and began working on research with Dr. Seth Ament while he was still in India remotely, which became his research, where he ultimately completed a project on the analysis of single cell transcriptomic and epigenomic profiling of hippocampal tissue in a mouse model of traumatic brain injury. And throughout his tenure at UMB, whether it was the first year that he was remote or the year that we were pleased to have him on campus, he was really consistently engaged. He was always asking really thoughtful questions and engaging in really stimulating discussions in classes and seminars, and really had his work ethic and dedication to his research were exemplary. And so after completing his PhD, Parth was accepted as a research assistant in the laboratory of Dr. William Renthal at Harvard University, which was less than a year ago. And he's continuing to pursue his interest in neurogenetics and preparing to pursue doctoral studies. He's actually already published a first author paper entitled Epigenetic Profiling of Mouse Nucleus Accumbens at Single Cell Resolution in Molecular Cell Neuroscience. And so we're really honored and pleased to have Parth to have traveled all down here to join us for this ceremony today. So thank you very much, Parth, and looking forward to hearing you speak.
Thank you so much, Dr. Polin, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. I believe everyone in this room, I believe everyone graduating here has had some part of their degree during peak pandemic time. So I would like to congratulate everyone here for making it through what the world threw at us. I believe right here in this room is one tough batch of students. My own journey started in India, nearly half of my degree being online from the other side of the world, which was not a lot of fun and allowed me to redefine what it means being a night owl. But thankfully, in the August of 2021, I was able to come here in person and enjoy the campus and meet all my mentors in person as well, all of whom who I had met through Zoom meetings until that time. Other than my extremely supportive and patient family, one member of which I lost during this time, I found a lot of support from the program leadership, Dr. Tony Polin, who was very understanding and worked with me when I was faltering. John, always ready with answers and suggestions to problems or questions regarding the program. And of course, my advisor, Dr. Seth Ament, under whose patient guidance I was able to gain new skills. Under whose patient guidance, I was able to gain new skills, making me capable of stepping on to the next step of my career. I can't emphasize more on how important it is to have a great advisor who supports you and your learning in as fair and nurturing a way as possible. And I was lucky enough to have such an advisor in him. Genetics is a very broad field encompassing developmental biology, cancer, neuroscience, rare diseases, and this program reflects the same in its breadth of topics and the flexibility to choose your own lab of interest across the university, which to me is one of its key strengths. This program not only provides an intense learning experience, but also a nurturing environment where there is space to learn from your failures, persevere through unprecedented circumstance or loss, and the push to expand your knowledge of the blueprint of life. Thank you again, and congratulations, everyone.
Next, Dr. Albrecht will introduce our third speaker. This is for a student from the clinical research program.
Hello, everybody. On behalf of the Clinical Research Education Programs, it is my pleasure to introduce the speaker for 2023, Dr. Lydia Tang. Dr. Tang is an assistant professor in the Institute for Human Virology. She received her master's in clinical research in just this May 2023. Dr. Tang completed her undergraduate and her medical training in the UK, and then came here to the United States to complete residency and ultimately a fellowship in infectious disease here at the University of Maryland. Dr. Tang is interested in her research focuses on reducing the impact of viral hepatitis and liver cancer among foreign-born people in the United States. She does this through engaging communities at greatest risk of viral hepatitis and working with advocacy groups to implement community-based projects to increase awareness and access to evidence-based care, and also through clinical and translational research to inform development of new experimental drugs aimed at curing hepatitis B, including designing and implementing clinical trials. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Tang.
Thank you, Dr. Albrecht, for the introduction, and thank you very much for the invitation to speak here today. I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about for my 3 minutes, but I thought a good place to start is to say that May is Asian American and Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. May is also Hepatitis Awareness Month, and today, May 19th, is Hepatitis Testing Day. And viral hepatitis B, C, and Delta are the leading causes of liver cancer. And liver cancer is the second deadliest cancer in the world. And in the United States, these infections disproportionately impact minority and marginalized communities. And yet we don't really know much about it. 1 in 10 Asian Americans have chronic hepatitis B. And I will say that when I first emigrated to and started working on this project, I was not aware of that, despite being from Hong Kong and having multiple family members and friends in the healthcare in Hong Kong. So when I decided to focus my research on viral hepatitis, in particular hepatitis B, about 7 years ago, it was with the intention of being a physician scientist. And I thought I had to make that decision. I had to make a choice between being an advocate or a physician scientist. And so I spent the next several years focusing on my deficits as a physician scientist and really just like thinking, what do I need to gain? What do I need to learn? What do I need to do better to be a physician scientist? Because I need to be a good physician scientist to be a good advocate is what I thought. And then the opportunity to do a master's program came the master's came up, and I thought, heading into this kind of second half of my early investigator time, maybe heading into mid-career, and is it just too late for me to do a master's? Am I going to be able to learn? Is it going to take my focus away from looking at all my deficits as a physician scientist? But I did the master's program, and it taught me so much. It made me realize I had it backwards, and it wasn't about focusing on my deficits as a physician scientist. It was about focusing on my strengths and identifying the support I needed to really grow and focus on my strengths to be a good physician scientist and to be a good advocate, and to realize that I could still be an advocate as well. And the master's program gave me the skills and the additional tools to really support my strengths as someone that exists in that sweet spot of being of someone that works in community engagement in academics. So during the master's program, I was taking the lessons learned and all these new skills and methods and applying them in real time to apply for multiple grants, several grants, and got funded for a few, lost funding for one, but I have 2 currently right now. And for the month of hepatitis, I am working with a immigrant health advocacy group and are implementing a hepatitis delta, community-based hepatitis delta education program in Metro DC area, and measuring the impact of this education program on uptake of hepatitis delta screening. And this is a good example of a community academic collaboration. And the first time I have taken the lead in a very sort of epi-based project as someone who really worked in immunology translational research. And then on the same other side as well, also working on taking all the lessons learned from practicum and from Dr. Turin's clinical trial course, and I'm currently developing and implementing a clinical trial on an experimental drug for hepatitis B, being evaluated for cure for hepatitis B. So I would like to see myself and offer myself as a good example as someone that was probably heading us in the mid-career range and thinking, is my path really set in some way? But and then realizing, no, there's always opportunity to grow and learn more and really see things from a different angle. So thank you very much.
And our final student speaker will be from the Master of Public Health Program, and the director of that program, Diane Marie St. George, will introduce the speaker.
So again, it is my honor and pleasure to make an introduction, and this time of Ms. Hannah Labun, who was selected as a student speaker by her Spring 2023 EPH graduating class. Hannah is a native Marylander who attended the University of Connecticut as a kinesiology major, intending to become a physical therapist. However, she was bitten by the global health bug after hearing the late Dr. Paul Farmer speak of his work with Partners in Health when he was giving a guest lecture at UConn. They did not have a global health major there, so she sought approval to develop an individualized degree in global health and couple that with a minor in Spanish. After her junior year, she spent the summer home here in Maryland, working with our very own School of Medicine Center for Vaccine Development and Global Health as an intern, where she so impressed them that they hired her immediately upon graduation in 2019. The rest, as they say, is history. She applied to our Master of Public Health Global Health concentration and began her part-time studies with us in 2020. So everybody knows what happened that year. She entered with what we have come to fondly call our MPH COVID cohort. Those brave fall 2020 enrollees who attended orientation on Zoom and spent their first year with us without ever setting foot in a classroom. But despite the COVID limitations when she started, Hannah eventually took full advantage of the learning opportunities that were available to her since she has been here. She worked with me on the fall 2020 mini med school. Remember that? Yeah. In 2021, she became a volunteer in THREAD. THREAD is a nonprofit that connects Baltimore high school students with university and community-based volunteers to break the cycle of crime and poor educational and economic outcomes, replacing it with a new cycle of educational attainment, service, and social well-being. In 2022, she was accepted as a member of the UMB team for the National Academy of Medicine Public Health Challenge, which incidentally won the wildcard prize at that competition. And in 2023, she received the MPH Student Travel Award, which partially funded her trip to the Gambia to work on her practicum entitled Design of a Hepatitis B Serology Testing and Vaccination Campaign for Healthcare Workers. Hannah, it has been a pleasure having you with us in the MPH program, and we look forward to your remarks today.
Good morning, everyone. Like Dr. St. George said, I started this program in a box on Zoom. I'm so happy to be here today speaking on behalf of the spring 2023 graduating cohort. Although each one of us have navigated this program differently as part-time, full-time, or dual degree students, we're all united by the common goal to ensure that every person has a chance at living a healthy life. A common phrase in public health is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, which really makes a lot of sense. Instead of treating the individual, we in public health focus on upstream approaches to treat entire populations. So what is public health and how do we define it? While the COVID-19 pandemic shed light on the role of public health, there is still so much more invisible work happening in the background. Public health is about ensuring access to quality housing. Public health is removing barriers to safe and affordable food. Public health is about air quality, clean water, and climate change. Public health is implementing programs to reduce poverty. Public health is about quality education and so much more. As students in the MPH program, we've learned how the places where people live, learn, work, grow, and play affect their health outcomes. In addition, we've learned what it means to lead with a public health perspective. To apply and demonstrate the core competencies that we've built, we've each focused on a wide range of topics, including things like tobacco prevention and cessation among Black and Latinx LGBTQ youth, HIV prevention projects in Nigeria, identifying mental health risks among Kenyan youth, building strong health systems through systematic vaccination of healthcare workers in the Gambia, or working with local Baltimore initiatives to reduce infant mortality rates through education. While the terms upstream approaches, p-values, logic models, and social determinants of health are all essential to our field, we must remember that these are just terms. Real public health work takes place on the ground in our communities, where we build relationships, foster trust, and create spaces for equitable dialogue. Moving the public health needle forward requires real, meaningful collaboration. These built relationships are therefore essential to create new and better solutions to health. As public health professionals, we learn how to adapt and respond to the needs of populations. Whether we're involved in community activist work in West Baltimore or the implementation of global health programs in sub-Saharan Africa, we must remember that public health is everywhere and ever changing. Population needs will continue to drive our work, and we will evolve, adapt, and respond based on what the future presents. Now that we're equipped with a strong professional foundation, we must each find our place in this field. We must remember that people really are the center of public health. And we have both the power and the responsibility to ensure health equity and improve the lives of generations to come. I, for one, am extremely proud to be part of a discipline that identifies the root causes, asks the tough questions, and works to develop just solutions. Although it may not feel like it, this really is just the beginning, and our public health work starts now. And there surely is a lot to be done. So thank you all and congratulations. I deeply look forward to the path that each of you take.
We are now going to move to finally recognize our graduates and award them some honors. And to announce our graduates, we have Erin Walton who will be announcing them. Erin?
First, we have the PhD in Epidemiology and Human Genetics, Epidemiology track. Ghulam Muhammad Al-Kabria. Aylin Bulatal. Geeta Nadampally. From the Molecular Epidemiology track, Richard Smith. Next, we have the MS in Human Genetics and Genomic Medicine, Parth Bhatia. Step back over here, thank you. And we'll take a picture of them. From the MS in Epidemiology and Clinical Research. Morkos Awad. Andrea Berry. Deanna Friedman Klabanoff. Jonathan Lawton. Saleha Munir. Lydia Tang. Master of Public Health. Sydney Feldman. Aidan Grinnell Cormier. Hannah Laboon.
Well, I think we should congratulate all of the graduates with a round of applause. I want to congratulate all our awardees, Honor Society inductees, and graduates. I want to be the first to welcome you into the Epidemiology and Public Health Alumni Organization, where you will join the, I don't know, 500 plus members of who have been former graduates of our programs. Maybe it's 600 now. As an alumni, you'll have the opportunity to stay connected with faculty and classmates by joining our alumni committee or through our social media outlets. We hope you'll keep in touch, and we also want to hear about your career accomplishments, as you know you will be making a difference in this ever-changing world. As you move ahead in your careers, please remember 3 things. Can you do that? 3, just 3, okay. You are the future, and what you do and how you do it will affect not only your own lives, but the lives of those who follow you. So that's number 1. The quiz will be at the end. Number 2, stay true to your vision of what you would like the world to look like for the next generation and the one after that, and work toward that in whatever you do and however you use what you've learned here. Okay. And the third is pursue your work with honesty, integrity, and humility. And you will be pleased that you did that. So what, I won't make you ask, I was going to ask you what was number one, but I won't. So I'm going to let you all celebrate together and invite you all to a reception in the atrium outside of the lecture hall. So thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to see everyone. I feel very proud of our graduates and our department, and so pleased that everyone is here to celebrate. Thank you.